Hey everybody, it's Angel from Halo Inspirations. We give you inspirations to help you spread beauty and joy through your quilting journey. Today is Block Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to each of you. I'm going to say it again, guys. I am so stoked. Why? Because this week's block was a log cabin, and it is absolutely one of my favorite blocks because there's so much versatility. There's so many different things you can do with it. You can arrange with it, the color, everything. I mean, just so much creativity really goes into it. And it brings so much inspiration and beauty and joy in our world. So I really, truly do enjoy the log cabin. And that is the block that made this awesome quilt. Totally love this. And we're calling it the Royal Barn Raising. Absolutely love it. Now, what did it take? I got a little notes because I can't remember everything, but I will tell you that each block finishes at 8 inches. Unfinished is 8.5, of course. The borders, I put 3 on, and y'all know I'm not a border girl, but this just spoke to me and said, I need borders. So the first border is 1.5. Second is 2, and the last one is a 3-inch border. Inside this, for the color, for the blues and the greens and the purples, we actually used a 10-karat gem, Royal Knights, by Wilmington Essentials. Absolutely gorgeous fabric. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. For the black and the white, we used yardage. And I will tell you that for the black, we used Wilmington Essentials Midnight Sparkles. It's absolutely got these little swirly, sparkly kind of things in the print. So cute. For the white, we used Riley Blake's Confetti Cottons, Crayola Solid Color Riley White. And it's a fun, solid line because all of the color, all the solids are named after a crayon in your Crayola box that we all grew up with, right? So it's totally fun, but that's all of the white that I used. Now, I will tell you that if you were not to use a 10-karat gem pack like I do, for the purple, whatever color yours is, but in this situation, for the purples, it would take 3/4 yard. For the blues and greens, it would take a 1/2 yard, okay? So those strips, 3/4 yard and 1/2 yard of each of the others. The backing without overage, because I never include overage, is 3.5 yards. The binding, if you did it at 2.5 inches, which is what a lot of people use, would take you a 1/2 yard. And I will tell you, you don't have to memorize any of this because I again have supplied a supply list. Isn't that funny? So yeah, there is a supply list, and the description is down below the video. So this is Royal Barn. I did it again. Royal Barn Raising. Try to say that 10 times fast. I'm telling you, that's the Royal Barn Raising. But let's get started on learning how to make this beautiful log cabin block so you too can have fun and create a beautiful piece of work that will inspire and spread beauty and joy in your life. So I'll see y'all in a second. Before I go and cut all these up, and because we carry them in our shop, I wanted just to give you a little bit of an idea of what comes in it. This is, again, I did use Royal Knights 10-karat gems by Wilmington Essentials. And, yes. And, you know, we always get one, right? Well, in this pack, it was this red. You get 2 of them in there. And it would have been really cool to use red because, of course, with a typical log cabin block, red or yellow tends to be in the center, sometimes gray. But the red symbolizes the heart of the home. And that would have been cool, but there's not enough here to do 36 blocks. So that was the one I had to toss aside for sure. Now, when you go to sort your fabric, if you're using a 10-inch square pack, sorry, there's lots of quilting bling from the pinked edges. You'll need 12 of one color, 12 of another, and 6 of the third. Now, I'm using 6 purples, 12 purples, 12 blues, and 6 of the green. And working within that too, just trying to figure out exactly which colors I was going to pull from. And I don't know that I've completely decided, but oh gosh, the coloring in these blocks is just so rich and quote unquote royal. I totally understand why they call it Royal Nights. Just absolutely gorgeous fabrics. But I'm going to go ahead and start getting these cut up. And the next time you see me, I'll talk a little bit more about how to cut for that particular, the royal barn raising. We'll definitely get the, I'll let you know exactly what I cut, how many to cut, and give you a little help along the way here before we go to the design board. So I'll see you all in just a sec. I wanted to bring you in just for a minute and talk about a couple of things. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is this little chart, and I am including this in the supply list just because it was so helpful to me when I was cutting to keep things organized that I figured it would be very helpful for you too. So I went ahead and included it, but what I know it's really hard to see, but it is available with the supply list, which the link is down below. But what we have is the sizes of each of the strips that you'll need to cut. And understand that if you are making the exact quilt I am, it is 36 blocks, 6 by 6. So I need 36 of these, 36 of these, 36 of these, etc., etc. I did use the 10 carat pack, 10-inch square pack. So I was able to say that with the purple, I needed 12. With the blue, I needed 12 of the squares. And with the green, I needed 6. I did say that earlier. I'm just repeating it. With the black, I'm actually using it, as you saw earlier, in the borders. But so this is yardage. But I need 36 of those. And then the white is also from yardage. And I needed 36 of each of them. And it just helped me keep track. Now, this is called the 4-log cabin. Like a 4 patch. This is a 4 log. So if you count, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 out in every direction. Okay. So this is a 4-log cabin. And if you'll notice, there are darker colors on one side and lighter colors on the other. That's very typical. Having the black square is not normal, but it's all what you want, right? So you don't even have to follow this. I'm giving this to you. So even if you're using different colors, it's still going to be available if in fact you wanted to do this size block, which finishes at 8 inches. Okay. So this is available. This is a typical log cabin style with the darks and the lights on one side. So once all my strips were cut, I organized them in order. So when you sew this, and we'll talk about this again, you're going to start with your 2.5-inch square. You're going to add the 2.5-inch strip here of white. Okay. Once those are sewn together, you're going to add your 3.5-inch. Once those are sewn together, you sew the green 3.5. Once all that's sewn together, you add the 4, and you're just going in rounds all the way around until you end with this 8.5 at the bottom. So because of that, I have laid out my fabrics just how I would sew them. So I started with the 2.5-inch black, then I have the 2.5-inch white that I'll sew together. Then I'll sew a white 3.5 and then a green 3.5. And if you look, it's always white, white, dark, dark, light, light, dark, dark, light, light, dark, dark. So the center, light, light, dark, dark. Light, light, dark, dark, light. I just laid them out exactly how I'll sew them. So I'm able to pull each of these items as I'm sewing along. I will say your cutting is very important. You need to make sure that you're cutting accurate, and your 1/4 inch seam is huge, guys. In order for you to get a 8.5 unfinished 8-inch finished block, you need to have your 1/4 inch seam under control. And I'll talk about that because I actually did struggle this time, and it's very interesting what I ended up having to do. So we're going to go one step further here in a second, but I wanted to give you this idea. So no matter if in fact you're using these colors or different colors, it doesn't matter. This is exactly, even if it's even a bigger log cabin, so you know you've got 6 going out or something, you want to lay them out as you would take from them, keeping them in order so you know what you need next. So I'm going to pull you in and we're going to talk a little bit more. I will tell you, I am giving you a coloring sheet with just a smaller version. It's the same 4 log, but it's smaller. I just wanted to give that to you as a coloring sheet. So for those of you who are new, you're going to see this later because there's a trick you can do with it, and you can add your own colors and decide exactly what it is that you want to do. So I'm going to bring you in closer to my sewing machine, and we're going to talk about this one step further and help you along this path of a beautiful block. So I'll see you then. Okay, so the first one's first here. I'm taking that 2.5 inch block and a light, and in my case it's white, 2.5 inch by 1.5 inch. All my strips are 1.5 inch wide. And you're going to place them right sides together. Okay. Now I wanted to talk about the 1/4 inch seam, and I want to explain to you, and you'll see, I'm going to show you why this is so important. For mine, usually I sew a scant. So I started that way. As the block continued, I was off. I thought, wow, I even tested these first 2 strips. It looked great. But as the block grew, it was just slightly off. And as you get bigger and bigger, you'll notice it. So I went to the 1/4 inch. I sent 2 more through of these. It looked great, which was weird. And kept going, and guess what? It was off. I ended up taking, now you know I use a seam guide because it's important to sew straight with this too. So I left the seam guide at a scant. I put down my seam gauge underneath with the needle. There's a gap in between, and I basically eyeballed it right smack in the middle. And so far, we're working. So it is so important. I'm going to show you here why as I show you how to build these blocks. So right now I've got the 2.5 inch square with the first 2.5 inch strip. And you're just going to go ahead and send it through. Try to keep that nice and straight, guys. All right, now I've already had one in there to help speed things up. Of course, that's going to change here in just a minute. But for the first one, I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to go ahead and press it. And when you press, I'm going to show you this too. You want to press towards the whatever patch you put on. You want to press towards that patch. So I just have put on this white patch, right? So that's the way that I pressed it. Then you're going to grab the next one, which is the 3.5. Now here is why it becomes so important that your 1/4 inch is on track. All right, let's see if I put it on top, if it'll help. You want to make sure that your next strip is equal and perfect along. So if your 1/4 inch seam is off, as you continuously build around and around, you're going to see it. So let's add this one. Sorry, y'all can't see it, but I'm getting it straight. Okay. And believe it or not, it might seem counterintuitive, but it does work better if you put the new strip on top. I know there's no seams underneath here to be watching for, but trust me, it works better. So, send it underneath here. Now I'm going to go ahead and send another 2.5 with a 2.5 as a leader ender, because that way I can pull off the one we just sewn. Okay. All right, now let me go ahead and pull these other ones off. I'm going to go ahead and give it a press. Remember, I'm pressing towards whichever one I just sewn on. Okay? And I always put it to my left side when I'm adding the new block. Now this is upside down. I hope this is demonstrating it correctly because it's really hard for me to tell on this camera. But we've done 2 lights, so now we want a dark. So we go to the 3.5 and you put the right sides together, and it's got to be even, guys. It has to be. If your 1/4 inch seam is off, this strip won't line up. Even if it's off by a little, by the time you get out really, really big, it's going to be even more noticeable, and you're not going to be able to fix it, and it's not going to end up the right size, and you're just going to be wanting to pull your hair out, possibly pee in your pants because you got a lot of seam strips. Trust me, I have a lot of seams to rip because trying to figure out this correct seam for these fabrics was a nightmare. But now that it's there, I'm hoping I have enough bobbin to finish it all. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this one. Get it nice and straight. Okay, put it underneath here. Ooh, I see it's crooked. Okay, now I'm just going to add on to the one that I cut with this one, so we have a leader ender. Oop, grabbed the wrong. Light, light, dark, dark. So it's like the saying I keep saying to myself, light, light, dark, dark, light, light, dark, dark, because I don't want to mess this up. Because some of the strips are the same size between light and dark, so you've got to make sure that you're putting the right one on at the right time, in the right spot. Okay, pull this other one off. I'm going to give it a press. And remember, I'm pressing towards, yes, I press towards the one I just added, okay? So you're always adding, and you press towards the one you just put on there. Put it on your left side, so the blank upside will be the where you add. And I need another dark. So you're going to make sure that when you place this on here, I can't even begin to tell you, it's so nice whenever it lines all up, because it took me 3 hours to figure out where I needed to put that. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this together. And this is it, guys. This is exactly all you're going to do, is you're going to keep going around and around. Okay, put that underneath. Go ahead and send it through. You see it's just slightly off. Maybe it's just the way that piece is. It is, okay. There we go. You can use, oh, I think my seam flipped. You can use, which you don't want to necessarily do. I've been doing pretty good, but being on camera now, all of a sudden, I'm struggling. But you just want to try and keep everything nice and straight. This particular block, if you are a beginner, now see, light, light. So now I'm going to a dark. This is the other one I keep sending through. I'm just going to do a couple more with you. But if you're a beginner, this is really going to help you understand where your 1/4 inch seam is. Now that changes, you know, depending on what kind of thread you're using. Maybe the brand is different. Maybe the weight is different. But maybe even, well, not maybe, a lot of times, like I said, this, I usually do a scant, but these two fabrics together really was somewhere, and it's just a thread, guys, but it's somewhere between a scant and a 1/4. Gotta love that. Pull this first one off that we've started with the second dart. I'm gonna do one more with you. See if I flip that. Oh, I didn't flip a seam. It just sounded chunky. I probably need to change my needle, but I don't want to mess with anything because everything's perfect. I press towards the new piece. This is the piece I added on, so I press towards that, okay? I'm going to put it on my left side. I don't know if that's your left or not. It's my right, but I'm hoping that I flipped this correctly. You're going to take, we went the center, light, light, dark, dark. Now we're going to go to light. And you're going to make sure that you are still in compliance. Yes, I am. I can't even believe it, guys. I'm so excited. You don't even know. So that this piece will line up perfectly for you. You want to just check it. So I'm going to send this last one through. And then I think you get the point. You're just going to keep going around. Light, light, dark, dark. And if you really want to keep it straight, you can also, that extra sheet that I showed you earlier, you can keep it nearby to make sure that you are still adding the correct block in the correct place. Let's pull this one off. And I'm going to go ahead and send through another dart beginning with a 2.5 inch white, so I can pull this last one off and show you. It's not a hard block, guys. It really is not. You just want to make sure that that 1/4 inch seam is under control. I have a nice pile to rip. All right, I'm going to open her up. Now remember, whoops, let me get that. I didn't press that one good enough. It kind of flipped it on when I was ironing. So when you iron, whatever piece you just put on, you want to put it back on there, okay? And that's it, guys. So if we put that one on the left, we got one light. So now we're going to go to another light, and you're just going to keep on going until the block is finished. And to be honest with you, I think I have to, nope, okay, it works. Awesome. So I'm going to keep on going and finish this part up. I will see you again next with a couple of design ideas to include the coloring sheet before we go to the design board. So I'll see you guys in just a bit. If you've never heard of a coloring sheet, this is kind of what they look like. A lot of times in patterns, you'll get the complete pattern in just these outlines, and they're really cool because they allow you to take your crayons or your colored pencils or whatever it is that you want to color with and color your own fabric colors in here. I'm supplying this in also on the website under list of inspirations for you if you would like your own copy, totally free. And it'll allow you to put your own colors in there. I'm just making sure that you want to, if you want to keep it the, traditional way, you've got one side light, one side dark. A lot of times you'll see red or yellow or gray in the middle. And of course mine is typical in the idea that I do have a light side and a dark side, but I use black just for some color variation. And I'm just really into black fabric right now. So this is a typical layout. Now I didn't color mine. I sped up the process. I have the EQ8 software that I'm able to print something like this. So I went ahead and did it in the colors of my quilt. And this arrangement is, a typical log cabin, very normal arrangement. But what these sheets, if you color your own sheets, and I did give you 2 to a sheet, they're a little bigger than what I have here, you can really have fun with this and start to play with the squares. And you can move them around and really try to see what arrangement that you might like. This is kind of interesting to do this with a camera in the way, but I'm going to do one of them here called Streaks of Lightning. I'm trying to remember exactly here. That way, yep, maybe this way. Okay. And then this one, we want to go this way, and then this way, and then this one, maybe this way. Yeah. And then this one, we want to do this way. Yep. And as you do this, it's just going and there's endless things that you can actually do with the log cabin block. It's why it's one of my absolute favorites. And I hope that if you've never tried one, that you will be inspired to try it yourself. Now, if you can see, we'll have these stripes. And if they actually continued throughout the quilt, it will be like a zigzag. So this white, it is starting to bend here. This is only a 16 patch, but it is starting to bend. And when it gets further down, it'll bend back. Along with the dark, it'll do the same thing. And they just go in zigzags like a lightning streak, right? So that's the lightning streak. The next one is kind of fun, and it's called Sunshine and Shadows. That's what it is. So what happens here is you'll end up forming, it's not, yep, no. You'll end up forming some whites or light. All the lights will go together to form stars. And then the dark will become the shadows. So it looks like sunshine, the stars are the sun, so that's your sunshine. And then you will have the dark will be the shadows. It's really pretty. It's one I contemplated, and you can actually set this up reversed where the dark would be the stars and the light would be the shadows. And I don't know what that's called, but it definitely is an option. The last one I wanted to show you is actually a very common, very well-known arrangement. This one is too. So is a lightning streak, or the streaks of lightning. But this one, you'll see it a lot, or I have, if you've been watching. And what it is, it's similar to the lightning streak, but the difference is that they don't bend. They're just straight lines. I have to think about this. You'll have straight lines of light streak, light diagonals, and then you'll have dark diagonals. Okay. And just simply, if you notice, I'm just simply turning the blocks in different directions, and it's kind of fun. Last row here. There we go. So as you can see, we've got a light stripe, a dark stripe, a light one, a dark one, a light one. And as your quilt was any bigger, this would be a lot, you can have a lot more stripes. But what this is called is fields and furrows. I thought that was really cute. The last one I'm going to show you, I'm going to take you to the design board and show you my favorite and what I ended up choosing. So I'm going to take you there, but I wanted to offer something for you because, our goal is to inspire you. So we wanted to be sure that we gave you this coloring sheet to allow your own inspiration and your own creativity to flow. And you can sit down and really have fun with this. But like I said, there's nothing like putting it on your fabric for real and getting it either on your table, your bed, your floor, your design wall, and really having a lot of fun playing with this. So I'll see you all in just a second. Okay, so here is, and I've got to tell you, I beg your pardon, I don't have a door in this room, so you might hear some noise in the background. I apologize for that. When we move the sewing studio down into the basement, this won't be an issue, so just bear with us a little longer. However, here it is. This is my favorite layout, especially with these colors. That might change with some other fabrics and some other colors, but this particular arrangement is called the barn raising. Now, I've been told that it's called that because it's like building a barn from the center out. I don't see that. I see a diamond with other diamonds. That's what I see. Now, if you get it, let me know. I'd love to understand it, but apparently this is the center of the barn and we're building it out. I don't know. But I wanted to offer, I have some rearranging to do in here because, like here, I've got two fabrics that are the same. Here I do. So I have some rearranging to do. So before I do all that, I thought I'd give you that dark, I talked earlier about having the sunshine and shadows where we had, I said stars, but they're diamonds. Where we had the light colored all together forming the diamonds, and then we had the background being the shadows with the dark colors. And I told you that we could do a dark diamond with light background. Well, let's just see what that looks like. Now I'm going to speed up the video, I think, so you don't have to, not that I think, it's just I might cut it and then come back at you. But I'm going to rearrange these real quick to do the dark colored diamonds with the light background, just so you can see it. So let me get this started. All right. Now, I don't know if I did this right. I'm hoping that I did. Because I will tell you that it's so much easier if you stand back. And if you're going to play with the log cabin like this, I would encourage you to take pictures. Step back from it, take a picture, and then see if you like it. And then also if you do, it'll help you remember how to put it together. But I think this is it. What's interesting to me is I see both, okay? I see dark diamonds here, but I see the light diamonds here. So maybe this is still sunshine and shadows. I don't feel like it is because I would have flip-flopped. I would have made this one to start with the lights and it would change it. But yes, there we have it. All the darks are together. And it's an interesting layout, but this is the fun behind the log cabin. I'm telling you, it is so much fun to play with these blocks. And I'm going back to my barn raising because I actually do prefer that. And I'm going to play with my blocks to make sure that I have different fabrics where I can, as best as I can, not matching. But I will get that done and get the borders on. But I'm going to come back at you and finish this up. So I'll see you all then. The Royal Barn Raising. I hope that this has completely inspired you to make your own log cabin quilt. And if you do, please share. I would love, love, love to see your creations because of the versatility. I mean, you can go modern, you can go traditional, you can go scrappy. There are so many things that you can do with a log cabin. And, it's just one of those great blocks with a huge amount of history. Just a super awesome block, and truly I do hope this inspired you. I wanted to go over a couple of things. The Royal Knights that I used, I want to say one more time that they can be found in my shop. The link for that is down below, so if you're interested in purchasing this for a log cabin block or any other, because it is super gorgeous, as y'all saw, you can find them there. And then I wanted to just say again that I am giving the supply list, and I'm calling this the strip sheet, where it shows you the lengths of each of the strips. That is for free. And I just want to tell you, I don't know why, but I didn't put that each of these are 1.5 inch wide, except for the center, which is 2.5 inch squared. The rest of these are 1.5 inch strips. So if you print this out, just put a little note, 1.5 inch wide. And then it has the lengths of each of the logs for you. So I'm calling this the strip guide, and then the coloring sheet, which you can't see. There are 2 to a sheet, like I said before, but it's just an outline for you to play with, to experiment with, to have fun with. All of these are free. Now at this time, I have 3 buttons, and you will find them on our website underneath the list of inspirations. The link for that is down below also, but I haven't figured out how to not lose, not make it distorted if I put it all in one document. So I have 3 buttons at this time. Eventually I'll figure it out, but I do have the 3 buttons. You just have to click them. Even if you're not making it now, it's free. It's a resource. Grab it. Totally up to you, but it's free. And I always say if it's free, it's for me, right? Now, if you are a Be Inspired newsletter person, if you are a subscriber to the Be Inspired newsletter and part of that side of Halo, all this will come to you later today in your inbox. So you don't have to go out and look for it. It's already there. Making it a little easy on my Be Inspired newsletter folk. But that is the Royal Barn Raising. Again, I hope this has inspired you. It's just a wonderful, wonderful block. Even with the 1/4 inch seam, that, little thing I had going on at the beginning, which I will tell you, make one block. If it ain't right, make your adjustments before you make the whole thing and then have to, use jack. Make one block at a time. Make sure your measurements are good. Make sure your 1/4 inch seam. But even though mine took a lot of trial and error for me this time, I still really enjoyed making this quilt. It's just wonderful. I can't say enough about it. So if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them down below in the comment section. I will get back to you. Or you can come visit us on Facebook at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm there for a Facebook Live for any questions that you may have. And sometimes I add a little something to it that I may have thought of that isn't in the video. But yeah, I hope to see y'all at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Facebook. But if not, I will definitely see you next week. So until then, may y'all continue to be inspired, productive, and joyful. And never stop making your dreams in quilting come true. I love y'all. I'll see y'all next week.